Okay, thank you. I just want to really, commend Russell Athletics. You should be really, everybody involved with Russell Athletics ought to really be proud of, the bowl game that they've put on and sponsored. It's been an incredible week. Could not have been better in regard to accommodations, practice fields. Everybody that's been, been a part of taking care of our team here for the last 4 or 5 days has just been amazing. So, again, I just want to thank all of them for a great experience. Our players have really enjoyed the experience, and it's been first class in every way. And, again, everybody's gone out of their way to really make it special for us. So thank you. I wanted to say I've been really pleased with our team, the way we've gone through meetings, practices, the way the players have conducted themselves, off the field, everything we've done, the players have really done a great job. We're excited to play a great football team in Clemson, team that's really got, excellent skill when you watch them. Both sides of the ball have got great speed. Defensively, they've got some really exceptional players, have really played well. Offensively, again, some dynamic guys with speed on the edges, with receivers and running backs. So it'll be a challenge. We understand that, but an exciting one as well. And again, I feel like our players have really done a great job through the week getting prepared for it. And so we're anxious to finally play here tomorrow.
All right, this time we'll open it to Q&A. If you could just please find one of our people with a microphone. We're going to try to get you guys a full transcript at the end. We'll start with the gentleman in the maroon here.
James Hale, Sports Talk 1400, the ref in Norman. Bob, Trevor obviously, has had a lot of time off, but you thought you could get him back up to speed and get him going. I know you'll find out on the game, but have you been pleased with his progress, and how has he looked for you during workouts up to this point?
Yeah, for sure. He's been excellent. He's taken every snap through all the practices. He's felt great, through the practices afterwards. So he's been back up to speed in the way he's playing. He's practiced really well. So it's always a little different getting back in a game, but still we have a lot of confidence that he'll play well, with all the repetitions he's had here preparing.
Bob Berry, NBC Oklahoma City. Coach, you've told the local guys this all year. I wish you'd kind of expound for everyone, and then take us up to this point. But Samaje Perine, just if you could kind of talk about the story of him when he came, what your impressions, what you expected of him, if anything, and the fact that he's on the verge of moving into the top 5 all-time in single-season rushing, and then his health now coming into this game.
He's a special player. I think it's fair to say Coach Gundy, through the years, has done an exceptional job recruiting. We're not recruiting a guy that we don't feel is going to be exceptional. So I think I find it a little surprising that everybody else is surprised how well he's played. We wouldn't have recruited him if we didn't feel he could be special, and maybe we saw more from him as a high school player, and Coach Gundy knew more about him than other people saw. You see a guy that's mature beyond his years as far as his mental approach off the field. Everything that he does, he conducts himself like he's 23 years old and a senior. Just the way he goes about his business and everything that he does, his schoolwork, everything off the field. And then he's beyond his years physically. You have a guy that walked in, one of the strongest guys on the team. At 245 pounds, can run. Is a great conditioned guy, a guy that's exceptional in the weight room. So, all of it transitioned into an exceptional year. But again, I credit Coach Gundy, who saw that in high school. He knew how big he was, how strong he was, how he worked. So it's just come to fruition in a great way for him and us here this year. He's been fine. He's practiced since we've been here. He didn't practice before we got to the bowl site here, but since we've been here, he's been running and practicing every day and looks good.
Barry Trammell with the Oklahoman. Bob, since the regular season ended, what kind of feedback have you gotten from your administration or the boosters that matter, not the run-of-the-mill fans or media, but the handful of people that matter? What kind of feedback have you gotten from them?
that they're in total support of everything that I've done here for the last 16 years, and that'll continue.
Next question. Oh, over here.
Coach Danny Morales of Valencia Voice here in Orlando. Just can you talk about the importance of playing well in a bowl game going into the offseason, the momentum that that can carry?
Yeah, it's always positive, you know, when it happens that way. But I was answered that question the other day. But for us who have to win again and prepare for another season, it lasts a couple weeks, win or lose, and you're on to a new year. You know, you graduate players. You know, players leave, for the draft or for, graduating, and then you're on to another season, and you're working, so when our players show up here in about 3 weeks from now, we're on to another whole new year and working, working towards next year. So, but it's always a good thing, but in the end, it only lasts so long.
Bob, Gene Sapikoff from Charleston. Cole Stapp back in South Carolina has been pretty much ridiculed, probably the most ridiculed quarterback in Clemson history. What have you seen on film that you think might give you trouble from him?
Well, he's a guy that can run it. Doesn't run it as much maybe as the other guy, but still is capable of running it when the opportunities are there. I've seen him make a bunch of good, throws and passes and win a lot of games. He's played a lot of football for him. So, we've got great respect for him. I am a little probably more sentimental towards him. I'm a guy who grew up in Youngstown, Ohio, and knew all about his dad and Cliff and loved the way he played, not only at Youngstown State but at Pittsburgh and followed him forever. So, I think Cole's done a really good job when he's had his opportunities. And I always think, too, much like our quarterbacks through the years, they have to be supported. It isn't always their fault. I think everybody always puts everything just on them. And, guys around them have to perform well, to support them and help them.
Coach Andy Pruitt from WCSC in Charleston. I know that the Brent Venable things you've been asked about quite a bit out in your area, but for us here in South Carolina, have you interacted with him at all, given a phone call, talked to him at all in these weeks leading up to it? And also, why do you think, based on your knowledge of who Brent Venables is, their defense has been so successful?
Brent, we got a chance to connect last night at an event where both staffs were together, so it was great to see he and Julie, his wife. We texted, I think, ahead of the game, maybe a week or so, when there was a lot of talk that we might be seeing each other, and we were both hoping that it wouldn't come that way. But again, when you're in this profession, as long as you are, you're bound to run into some people that you're close with that you got to compete against, and and truly, it's special when you've. With Brent, we coached and competed together for 13 years at Oklahoma, and I don't know how many years ahead of that at Kansas State. I recruited him, to go to Kansas State. So there's a long history there, and a lot of a very close friendship with families, and have been through a lot together. So it's different, but once you get to playing, you forget who's over there, and you just do your job, and so it'll be different, but. Anyway, what was the other? Why he's done so well? Brent's a bright guy. Works hard at it. He's, again, we still share, talk, out of season or even during the season, share ideas and talk through some things, and so he's done a great job as far as motivating and in the way he teaches, and then also you have to give credit to the players. There's a lot of really good talent there too. That's experienced talent that's playing well when you watch their players.
David Hood with TigerNet. Assuming you didn't get to watch Clemson much or at all during the season, when you finally turned on the game film, was there one thing that just jumped out at you that, hey, I didn't know that, or one player that maybe jumped out at you?
Well, I don't know one thing, but the speed offensively, and then defensively, you could tell with the experience and the speed and the excellent play defensively from a bunch of good players.
James Hale, Sports Talk 1400, The Ref in Norman. Bob, they graduate Sammy Watkins, who's tearing up the NFL. and they still have Williams and Scott at wide receiver. Can you talk about the matchup and trying to corral those two guys?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, the speed. Williams, Scott, Gallman, all those guys, you really got exceptional speed. They do a lot of course, jet sweeps or a lot of, plays where they're getting to the perimeter with those guys. So we've got to do a good job of containing them and guarding them downfield.
Yeah, Bob, your DBs have had a sort of an up and down season. How much of that is just, you've played a lot of young guys. Are you confident that they're going to get better, or are you overmatched at that position? What's the status of your secondary looking forward for the future?
Well, I do feel there's good players there. We have made some mistakes, and some of it is youth. When you're playing a bunch of freshmen and sophomores, naturally, as you go through the years, the better teams, you see a lot of juniors and seniors, and those guys are, I do have a lot of confidence that those guys will continue to get better and improve, and because they're talented guys, and again, the better teams usually are more experienced and have more juniors and seniors, and we're working that way, and sometimes you cycle that way, and you get caught, in some positions once in a while, and they need a little time to catch up.
Gary Nemick of the Tulsa World. Bob, following up on Matt Romar, how's he feeling, and will he be available?
I don't believe Matt's going to be able to play unless he's improved more today. I think it was put out there, all his imaging and x-rays and all were negative, so he'll be fine. Don't believe he'll be, good enough to play, here tomorrow. But everything is checked out okay. He was walking around doing everything yesterday, just sore, in his neck. So fortunately, he's doing well.
Coach, given the close calls this season and a lot of stuff that went against you to where you didn't win a conference title and you're not in the playoff, is there a lot of emphasis on this game that you really feel like you need to win to give your guys who have had some tough times this year a boost going into spring, or do you not put that much pressure on this particular bowl game?
As opposed to any other game at Oklahoma?
Well, based on the season
everything's the same, Bob. You know that. Yeah. Every game is important at Oklahoma. First game to the last game. So it can't be much different. Yeah.
Bob, Eric Bailey with the Tulsa World. You talk a little bit about Sterling's Shepard's lead up to the bowl game, and after the first couple series, will you know how effective he can be?
We'll know, early on, but he's been practicing, but until you get out there and can open it up and go true game speed, we'll see. I can't tell you that, so we'll know once he gets out there.
Over in the back here,
Coach. Shane Whitehead, WFTV Orlando. Your connection to Florida, your name's been mentioned for that job, God only knows how many times, but with your connection there, when Coach Spurrier brings a team here, they kind of gravitate towards him because of that connection. You think the locals that come out, Gator Nation, will kind of pull for the Sooners this week?
Hopefully, that'd be great if any Gator fans still out there that appreciate my part of being there, cheer for us. That'd be great. I'll take as many cheers as we can get. So, and I do. Listen, I've always haven't been shy about expressing my fondness too and appreciation for my time there. Jeremy Foley's a great friend, and a lot of people still in Gainesville are great friends of mine, and I keep in touch with them. And again, I've always felt fortunate for my time there. It really helped me and developed me in a lot of different ways. And again, Coach, always still very close with Coach Spurrier and giving me that opportunity.
Yeah, Bob, since the bowl was announced, have you had a chance to talk to Switzer? And if so, has he told you anything about sort of the disastrous game?
His last game here, I just realized, I just found out on the way here about Darren, was talking about being there, who's hosted us and been with us all week, and realized that was his last game at Oklahoma. I didn't realize that. So that tells you how much I've been reading about it. So I haven't talked to Coach about it. I talked to Coach about a couple other things, but haven't. He never brought up that was his last game, and again, didn't realize it until on the way over here. Yeah, we were talking about they wanted to see the Sooner Schooner run on. That's what Darren was hoping to see, and he said he didn't get to see it very much. So I guess we only scored 6 points, I think. That was a long time ago, though.
Hey, Coach, Barry Orr from Gaylord Hall over at OU. Just curious, we often hear coaches from teams that are fighting to get bowl eligible about the importance of the extra practice time that they'll get if they get to those 6 wins. What about for coaches at programs like yours that are a level above that? How much do you put into this game, and how much of that time do you use for next season?
It's always great to get the extra time. We spend a lot of our early practices, much like we do in spring ball, developing fundamentals, competing against each other, getting the seniors out, and developing, giving the other players more time. So it's always positive that way. As far as emphasis on the game, as I said earlier, every game's important to us. That's when you're at a place like Oklahoma, every game matters. So, I don't know how to make one matter more than the other. I really don't. So it's not possible, really.
So Bob, you're still good friends with Spurrier, and he was the last head coach to play against Clemson. Did he give you a scouting report?
No, he didn't. Of course, he doesn't need to. We analyze every play of that game and every other game, and so no, he didn't have anything special to say about it.
You going to wear the traditional whites, or you going to pull out the alternates tomorrow?
Traditional.